Hi, fans. I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and we're going to do episode 52 of the airflow and pressure differential comparison of 120 millimeter fans. And as usual, I need to remind you that this is my anemometer or airflow meter. Unfortunately, it only has 4 decimal places of precision for the area setting. So, although I have calibrated this against the Noctua A12x25, there is some distortion that creeps in as the airflow numbers get higher and higher. I am not a mathematician, so I don't know how to figure out the calculation to correct that, unfortunately. Also, I can't afford to replace this anemometer with a really good one. I only have one person who is supporting me financially. Rudik, thank you very much for your help. The other thing is, the good news, is that although there is a distortion, it's consistent, so I can still use the airflow numbers to rank the fans. And I do use cubic meters per hour instead of cubic feet per minute because I'm trying to push America out of the Stone Age and into the modern day of metric. Americans are very stubborn. Just like the British. Actually, the British still use imperial sometimes too. But at least they sometimes use metric. Anyways, so let's take a look at the fans that I've got for you today. I've got the Bitfenix Spectre Pro All Black BFF-S Pro -12025KK-RP. I've got the Bitspower Notos 0120 PWM or BPTA-NTO 121-8D1. The Delta AFB1212SH-5C54. The Montech RX120 PWM reverse, and the Scythe Grand Tornado high speed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up on the screen the results of my RPM testing so you can see how they did, and I'd like you to try to guess what about these fans. So take a look at pictures of the fans, the distance between the blades side to side, not front to back, the blade design, the frame design, the sleeve bearings, or whatever kind of bearings they are, if you can get that information, the hub size, and whatever else you can think about as far as the picture is concerned. And I'd like you to look at these RPM results, and I'm going to put that up right now. I want you to put your guesses into the comments as to which fan will have the worst airflow and which will have the best, which will have the worst pressure differential, and which will have the best. I would like to draw to your attention to the fact that there are 2 entries for the Bitfenix. And this is because, well, for some reason for the Bitfenix, they provided a Molex-D adapter, but instead of using the first 2 pins for it, they used the first and the fourth, which would be power and PWM. So somehow the PWM pin seems to be carrying back the current as well as maybe doing something else. I'm not really sure. It doesn't really make sense to me. So maybe if somebody who's really electronically knowledgeable can let us know in the comments. So the Molex-D actually, which is very unusual, very rare, was significantly worse than using PWM. So there are 6 fans, but 6 entries today that we will be tracking in this video. So we can see that with the Molex-D, the Bitfenix only got to 970.3, rated at 1200, and with the PWM instead, it got to 1440. So significantly above what was expected, and actually it just barely is at the limit of acceptable variance. The Montech was rated at 1600 and came in at 1600. The Bitspower was rated at 1800, came in at 1880. The Delta was rated at 2900 and came in at 2860. Not a problem. The Scythe was rated at 3000 and came in at 3110. So go ahead and put your pause and put your guesses in the comments. Please don't change them. This is not a competition. You're not going to win anything. This is a learning experience. So you can go to a store and say, hey, this fan probably sucks. This fan probably is good. Or when you're looking online, if you can get enough information, So hopefully whatever it is you're here for, this video will help you, especially given that I have over 250 fans on the list at this time. I'm not sure exactly because there are a few duplicates because of variances like this with the Bitfenix. All right, so I'm going to pause it, or either you're going to pause it and you're going to put your comments in, and we'll move on to airflow results. So unsurprisingly to me, the Bitfenix with the Molex-D connector only got to 93 CMHs, which is pretty darned bad. The Montech was in fifth place at 114.6. Then the Bitfenix with PWM was in fourth place. The Bitspower was in third place. The Scythe was in second place, surprisingly. And the Delta actually beat the Scythe handily. I did not see that coming. I thought that the Scythe would be the best, but it was a close battle, I thought. And again, I was wrong. Now, as for pressure differential, the Bitfenix with the Molex-D again was defeated by a significant number of degrees at 61 versus the Bitfenix with PWM and the Bitspower at 68 each. The Montech was at 82, putting it easily into the fourth quarter, along with the Scythe and Delta, which were both at 87. So there's a tie there. Didn't expect that either. Again, I kind of, well, I would have voted for the Scythe for this one. So that they tied, that's interesting, very interesting. And it's going to really kind of change the lineup of the best fans a bit today. So let's go ahead and see how these fans do against all the other 250 plus fans. All right, I have this sorted currently on RPMs. And please keep in mind that RPMs are not the final determining factor, that for airflow and for pressure difference. You'll see that there is some correlation, but it doesn't always work out evenly. You'll see some fans that are high RPM that are low down on the list, and there are others that are low RPM that are high up on the list. And what you'll notice most likely is there seems to be, for most of the fans, again, airflow and RPM are tied together, but I would say that sound is even more tied together, although there are fans that buck that trend. So the Bitfenix, because of the Molex-D nerfing its power, is listed in the first quartile, in the top, the bottom five, the worst five, I should say. And then we have the other Bitfenix with the PWM and the Montech in the second quartile. The Bitspower's in the third quartile, and then the Delta and the Scythe are in the fourth quartile. So let's go ahead and look at this from the perspective of pressure differential. Okay, so again, now we should see some that are only in the fourth quartile. There's the first quartile, nothing there. Second quartile, the Bitfenix with Molex-D. And I'm not sure if the Bitfenix with PWM is in the second quartile. I think it is, along with the Bitspower, but it could be in the third quartile. It's a little bit hard to tell, especially since both of them are at 68 degrees of pressure differential. And then finally, the Montech, Delta, and Scythe are in the fourth quartile, as I predicted. Now, let's look at airflow, shall we? Let me rearrange this. Now, this is kind of interesting because if you look at the second to worst fan on the list, it's the Scythe Wonder Snail, and this is the slowest one of the Wonder Snails. It just did not do well for airflow. The Bitfenix also with Molex-D did horribly, and you can't really say that the Montech did particularly well for airflow. Keep in mind that airflow fans are especially useful on exhaust. If it also has high static pressure, like 3 or above, then it's also great on intake, including for radiators for water coolers. Now okay, so at the very beginning of the second quartile, we have the Bitfenix on PWM and the Bitspower. And looks like the Scythe and the Delta are alone in the fourth quartile. And we can see that the gap between them is visually and actually kind of large. You know, it's almost 50 cubic meters per hour. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot over to the RPMs, and that'll allow you to compare all three of these statistics and see if you can figure out any patterns, any possible ways you can relate them to each other. Or maybe you're just looking for information on fans, and this episode will help you to find the fan you need for your computer as far as airflow is considered. Because, again, pressure difference or pressure differential is not the same as static pressure. Oh, and I did notice when I was working on the Montech that it significantly dropped in speed when I used the anemometer on it, which is, some fans get stronger, they get higher RPMs, and some just kind of fade away, which I feel like maybe that suggests low static pressure. All right, so I'm just going to go through this very slowly so you can look at all this information. Hopefully it will be useful to you. Yeah, I would say that the Montech, it's highly likely that the static pressure is good enough for an air cooler, but not for a water cooler. It probably would be okay for intake, but I can't guarantee that until I do my static pressure testing. So that's it for today. I just want to let you know I'm taking off the next 2, maybe 3 days, so you won't be seeing any videos. If you do see any, they'll probably be on Sunday evening or Sunday night. I have a few videos that I've already prepared through this week, but I haven't been feeling very well the past 2 days, and that has really slowed down my progress. So I'm sorry about that. But I did get a small number of videos done. Called my cardiologist too, but I didn't get an answer yet. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.
I need to ask for your help. Things have been challenging. Whose life hasn't been challenging lately? So if you can please help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and turning on notifications, that would be really, really super. Also, if you'd like to help me financially and you can afford to, you can do a super thanks on my Glenn's Fast Reviews channel, or you can become a member there. Or if you prefer, you can go to patreon.com/GLENNMII and become a member there instead. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Bleeping Computer for their support of my channel. If you need resources for computers, for getting rid of malware and learning about cybersecurity and stuff, Bleeping Computer, BLEEPING computer.com is a great resource. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.